Okay, next we're going to do some more domain and range. Now to find the domain for this one, you have to make sure that the bottom of the fraction doesn't equal 0, because otherwise it'll be undefined. So to find what x can equal, you do x plus 4, and you set it equal to 0. So then x equals negative 4. So x can equal everything except for negative 4. So the domain is just x does not equal negative 4. Now the way we find the range is by cross multiplying and solving for x. So it's going to be y times x plus 4 equals 3. Then yx plus 4y equals 3. Now yx equals 3 minus 4y. Then just divide by y. You have x equals 3 minus 4y over y. So now what makes this undefined would be when y equals 0. So the range is just y does not equal to 0. And another way you could look at this is by looking at the exponents of the variables and of x. And so since there's no x on the top, so same thing as being x to the 0 on top, and this is x to the 1 on the bottom, there's a higher exponent at the bottom, so then you know the range is going to be y does not equal 0. If there's a higher exponent on the top, the range is going to be all reals. There is no restriction on the range. And if the exponents are the same on the top and the bottom, you divide the coefficients to get your range. Okay, for this next one, we're going to set equals 0 again, so x minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4. So you know the domain is x does not equal 4. Now for the range, cross multiply, y times x minus 4 equals 2 minus x. So yx minus 4y equals 2 minus x. So now yx equals 2 minus x minus 4y. Now you're going to add the x on both sides. Get yx plus x equals 2 minus 4y. Take out the x. You get y plus 1 equals 2 minus 4y. Get x equals 2 minus 4y over y plus 1. And now you just set that equal to 0, so y plus 1 equals 0, y equals negative 1, so you know that the answer is that y does not equal negative 1. You also could have known by dividing the coefficients, since they're the same to the same exponent, both to the 1, and that would get you negative 1. Now for these, we're only going to find the domain. You could also find the range by just multiplying it out, but these would be more complicated by doing cross multiplication, so just the domain for these. And we would start by also setting it equal to 0 at the bottom, so x times x plus 2 equals 0. So then divide it up, x equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, x equals negative 2. So now you know your domain is x does not equal 0 or negative 2. For this one, you're also going to set equal to 0 again, so x plus 1 times x plus 4 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, x equals negative 1, x plus 4 equals 0, x equals negative 4. So now you know your domain is that x does not equal negative 1 or negative 4. Now for this last one, we are going to factor, and it's going to be easier to graph to find the domain and range for these. And you have to factor this because you can't have any negatives under the radical. So this factors to x minus 6 and x plus 1. So you're going to have x equals 6 and x equals negative 1. So that's where your points are going to be, x, negative 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now to test to see where these go, and look under here, you could test 0. So if you have 0 minus 6, that's a negative 6. It can't happen. so you know that they go out. So then your domain is going to be x is less than or equal to negative 1, can only be less than negative 1, and x is greater than or equal to 6. And then the range is just going to be y is greater than or equal to 0.